The point where I thought, my business is going to fold here.
What one decision have you made in your business that's give you the most progression? Because in theory, you charge 20% and you're only paying 10% back.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It would be a different story if you couldn't claim back on assets, but it's just small purchases. So what I've found since getting into units, warehouses and stuff, it improves your recruitment.
And that, for me, just opened up the business. Not seen a soul, not even spoken to a customer to sell them a car, and I thought, I've had enough. I want to continually grow. You lost your marbles, mate. Couldn't keep up with the influx of inquiries, probably getting 10 calls a day. Like, you know, driving me Ferrari around or whatever.
Yeah. I thought I was going to die. Hi guys, welcome to this episode of Movecast. Today we've got an exciting episode. We are joined by Andy Millington of Millington's Removals. Started in 2017, was it?
2017, yep.
Thank you for travelling from Milton Keynes today for us.
Pleasure.
An hour and a half journey, so not too bad.
Journey, yeah. Roads were clear, so it was a good rundown. So,
nice.
Yeah.
No, pleasure to have you, mate.
To see you all here and check out your lovely place.
We do a tour after.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Look forward to that. And you've looked after me with tea and coffee this morning, so thank you very much.
So we always like to start the podcast with a business question.
Okay.
Rob's got that prepped, I think.
Yeah, so welcome, Andy.
Thank you.
So today's business question is, what one decision have you made in your business that's give you the most progression?
I think for me personally, it was when I set up the storage side of my business. So obviously the business has grown at a slow pace over the last nearly 8 years. But 3 years ago, I decided to venture out into the storage side of things. We took on a very small warehouse with a small office, and that got filled very, very quickly. So we decided to take on a much bigger warehouse, 5,000 square foot warehouse.
Nice.
Where we've now got nearly 100 storage crates in. And that, for me, just opened up the business. I think it was because we were getting a lot of inquiries for storage already. And then it kind of goes hand in hand with removals, obviously. Storage and removals go hand in hand together. So, once we'd started up that, we were getting a lot more inquiries about storage. We were obviously getting the moves in and out of storage, and then I had an office, first time I'd ever had an office as well. So I felt like I'd upped my game and gone up a level in terms of business. So, and then we've got a yard now where we can keep the vans clean. We've got places to keep all of our materials, and it's just it really did help my business go to that next level. So,
yeah, good answer. So, what would you recommend for those removal companies trying to get into storage, because there is a lot of them, and I kind of it's the next step of progression. What advice would you give to get your first storage, or would you just go for it and get a small yard like you yourself?
I think personally just start small, because it's been a massive learning curve over the last 3 years, and I kind of jumped into it not knowing what to expect. You know, you do removals. I learned removals from a young age, and then you kind of pick up as you're going along. And it's similar with the storage. So if you're going in too big too soon, you're going to hit a lot more problems. It's better to take things slowly, and that's what I've always done within business, is take things at your own pace rather than just rushing into it and going too big too soon.
So it's like I have to stop Warren for my move. He wants about 17 features now, do you know what I mean? And I'm like, slow down, mate, slow down.
You have to hold the reins. I'm like that little kid in town running off and you're pulling the reins back.
I don't have anyone holding my reins, which sometimes I probably do need, to be honest.
But it's nice, the storage, when you get the storage, but you don't also get the storage. You get the yard, as you say, and you get a place to keep the vans. And I bet for yourselves, it's nice to have an office in the business when you've been on the vans all the time, and then you're just going home kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Your office is your van a lot of the time. You know, you're catching up on emails in the van, or you're doing it at home and stuff when the kids are running around and the television's on and whatnot. So it is really lovely just to have that office, and it's only a small little space, but it really it's really nice for me. I feel more professional having that side of things. You know, if a client wants to come and collect some materials or something silly like that, you know, here's the obviously the business address on Google or whatever, but they can turn up and we've got an office, we've got a sign out the front, and it just it just
You know, when
feels so much more
when a customer is on their way, you do get the broom out quick, don't you?
Yeah,
Just neaten
get the
everything
broom
up.
out, quick, get the hoover out, make sure all the pictures are straight on the wall.
It also, what I've found since getting into units, warehouses and stuff, it improves your recruitment. 'Cause it's like a much better impact when a new starter gets in touch. You invite them in.
Yeah.
Before it's in my kitchen. You know what I mean?
You can actually interview them. Or
Yeah.
again, for us, it would just be, right, you're starting on Monday.
Yeah.
You know, can you meet us
Yeah.
at this address or whatever, or can we pick you up? And then you just literally throw them in. Hi, I'm Andy. Meeting them in the van, greet in the van, and then throwing them straight in the sort of deep end.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas you can do a proper sort of more of an interview process.
Like
and
an
stuff as
induction
well.
day and stuff.
So yeah.
No, great. Yeah. So storage is way forward.
Storage way forward, yeah, definitely.
So we kick it back then, Andy. So what was you like at school, and just a quick overview of what you was like at school?
At school, the joker in class, you know, always the one that was sort of messing about, and it was always the case that the teachers would say, "Oh, he's got so much potential. You know, he's got a good head on him, and you could do so much better. You could do so much better if he stopped messing around. He'd do so much better." So I was just a bit of the joker, a bit of the class clown. Everybody knew my name throughout school, which was, I don't know, it probably wasn't a good thing looking back.
Were you naughty? Were you always getting told off or not?
Not naughty. I'd get obviously kicked out of the lessons quite a bit.
Yeah.
You know, but again, it was just it's not being naughty, it's just messing around.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, being the joker or winding someone up or taking things too far.
Yeah.
Like my English teacher, I'd literally be in the class for about 5 minutes and it would be like Andy in the corridor. Again?
Yeah.
Right. So it was always a bit of a class clown, I suppose.
I was easily distracted, I was.
Was
So
you?
if I was in the classroom with you, you'd be distracting me the whole time.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to concentrate.
And I'd be that guy who would be going like, come on, Warren, let's do this, let's mess about.
But I learned something not so long ago actually about like the schooling system and stuff. And you know when like they'd drag that kid out, get out of the classroom.
Yeah.
It's actually not to protect that kid. It's to protect the
the
classroom
other-
because that kid is gonna
Yeah.
bring down everyone else.
And,
But we're not trying to make him better. We're just trying to remove him.
so it doesn't distract you.
Because
Yeah, it makes
excellent
perfect
people become
sense.
good people.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Like my GCSEs, like I passed my GCSEs, I didn't get great results, and then I didn't do any higher education, nothing like that. Just
Well, what was your
literally-
first job then, coming out of school?
I worked in a warehouse, and then I worked in warehouses for like years, you know, in and out of jobs here and there,
Yeah.
and just basic general warehouse work.
What was the
really.
worst job you had before removals?
Probably just a lot of the warehouse work, really.
Repetitive.
Yeah,
Is
you're
it,
literally clock watching
Yeah.
all the time, you know.
Yeah.
You go in and it's 8-hour day,
Yeah.
you get a 30-minute lunch break or whatever, and it was just so repetitive. You're constantly clock watching.
How old are you now?
44 years old now.
44. So you started
44.
this then, 36?
36, 37, 36, yeah.
Yeah.
So quite old in terms of like starting up a business, and I always classed myself as like an accidental business owner. It was never what I intended. So I'd done the warehousing and stuff, and I didn't really have a career path. You know, I just wanted to earn money, and that was it.
Yeah.
And then I was working for a kitchens and joinery company, and some guy came in off the street. It was a trade-only business. He said, I want to buy a kitchen and some doors, this, that, and the other. And I said, we don't sell to general public. You've got to go through somebody who's got a trade account. Anyway, long and short, I said, I can show you some of the goods. Showed him round, and he goes, he pulled me outside. He said, can I just have a quick chat with you? I was like, yeah, of course. He's like, so I work for a motor dealer, a Ford motor company, and I'm a car sales manager. He said, I want you to come and work for me, selling cars. He's like, I see some potential in you, and that's what I want you to do. And I was like, okay. He said to me, explain to me the basics of it. Like, you know, obviously you come in, you're selling cars, this, that, and the other. You get a very basic salary, and then you work purely on commission. So I was like, yeah, it sounds quite good, but the basic salary was like $8,000. So I was like thinking, that's not a lot of money. But he's going, don't worry, you'll make it up on your commission, this, that, and the other. So I went through all the rigmarole of having the interview and everything like that, got the job, and it come to it, and I just bottled it, and I just didn't show in for that first day. And he's ringing me and going, Andy, what's going on? And that was it. I just carried on working at the kitchen place, ignored this guy. 2 months later, he rings me out of the blue, and I've not got his number saved or anything. So I'm like, hello, Andy speaking. He's like, Hey mate, it's Pete. Just wondering if you've had another choice. He said, I know you were nervous about sort of joining us.
Yeah.
Have you had any more thoughts about coming to work in the motor trade? So I was like, yeah, actually, I am going to do it this time. So then that started my career path. He really wanted me, yeah. Like I say, he obviously saw something in me that I didn't see.
But sorry to interrupt, but as
That's
a
all right.
business owner, we are talent spotters as well.
Yeah.
I've done it before. If I go to a
Yeah.
restaurant and someone's amazing at serving me, I'm thinking they'll be good at what
Yes.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's done a good job there, really.
Yeah.
Because you've impressed him and he wants you.
Yeah.
That's an entrepreneur, isn't it?
And he's stuck with it, like you say, going back to me like months later and approaching me again. And then, that started my career in the motor trade. So I'd done that for 10 years. I was in the selling cars for 10 years. So a long time, and obviously I've learned a lot of sales tactics from that, which I've then brought over into the removals, what I do. You know, I think I win a high percentage of my job simply because I walk in and the client likes me.
Yeah.
You know, I sort of sell myself, sell the business.
Yeah.
And the clients react well to me and like me, and that's the biggest part.
You are
of it,
very
really.
likable.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's
You've
very
got
kind
that kind
of
of
you.
personality.
Cheers.
I don't know.
You make me blush.
But that's good because throughout your career, you've worked up all these skills, which is now part of the removals industry.
Exactly
isn't it?
that, and I've done a bit of removals here and there. So worked for like a local company in and out, you know, as and when. So I picked up some skills and whatnot.
So
along
was
the
you
way.
selling cars and then on the weekends you'd kind of do
No.
jobs,
So
right?
just prior to me doing the car sales, more when I was doing the warehouse and stuff. Like I jumped in to do a bit of removals and stuff, just here and there. I'd done it from a very young age when I'd left school, went away from it and then come back to it. And then while I was selling the cars, I was just concentrating on that really. It's a lot of hours when you're selling cars. You're working every weekend, so every Saturday, every Sunday, because that's when the general public want to come in and shop and buy cars. So, but it got to the point in the car trade. I'd been there 10 years, and I'd just had enough. And I was in the showroom on a Sunday afternoon, not seen a soul, not even spoken to a customer to sell them a car. And I thought, I've had enough. I'm wasting my life away here. So
I love them epiphany moments, you know, like someone has an epiphany moment where you just think, you know what, like I've done it, I've had a couple of jobs and I thought, I've walked out on a couple and I thought, you know what, I'm done. And I always think you're just better off walking out, because when you leave the job, you go home, you relax, you think, oh, it's not too bad. But then when you're there again, you have the same have and you just go through that period of doing the same thing. And then did you just walk out, or did you just
on the Monday I handed my notice
did you?
in.
I
I
love
had that epiphany on the Sunday, and then like you say that, and it was that I'm just going to do it. And I walked in on the Monday and just handed my notice in. I had no other job.
No other job either.
Nothing. You know, I had some money in the bank, like not a lot of money at all, and my boss said to me at the time, he's like, because he was expanding his business as well, so he was about to take on another big dealership, and he said, you're leaving now at the worst possible time, we're about to grow the business, etc. Like, what are you thinking? What are you going to do? And I said, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to buy myself a little cheap van, and I'm going to move sofas about, and I'm going to, you know, pick up rubbish and take it to the tip. And he just looked at me like, have you lost your marbles, mate? And that was literally it. That's exactly what I ended up doing. Just bought a little small van, and I was just running about, and I was doing stuff for nothing as well, you know, moving a sofa for 20 quid and filling my van up with rubbish and taking it to the tip, and didn't have a waste license at the time, I'll be honest with you. And I was just taking it into the tip as I was part of the public, tipping it for free and charging people again next to nothing, you know, making peanuts really at the time. But
it
then
was
it
your
just
own,
started.
your
It was
own
my
baby,
own-
wasn't it?
Yeah, it's different. It's different. It's so different when you work for yourself than other people, isn't it?
And I soon got used to that working for yourself. You know, you can sort of pick and choose. But I was working a lot of hours as well doing it. Because I was thinking this is the only way I'm going to get money in is on myself now. I'm the only person that can bring that money in through the door. Just literally started. That's how I sort of started out into it. And
so how long was it after since you left the sales job before you bought your own van?
So pretty much straight away. But I mean, the van, it was an old Iveco, like long wheelbase thing. It was problematic. It was bad. It looked a right state, you know, oil dripping out of it all the time. And it was just like, I think it cost me about just over £2,000. So you can imagine how bad this van was. And initially I was sort of doing it on my own as well. So I'd go, oh, move a sofa. Oh, well, I'm going to do this on my own. So put it in like friends or whatever. And then one of my good friends said, oh, I'll come and work with you full time if you want. I thought, well, I'd actually need this. And then that was when the business started to, I mean, not really grow, but I started to get busier, and I was doing advertising through Facebook, set up a business page on Facebook and stuff, Google business page as well. And then, just started picking up. Word of mouth soon got about, and I think because of my school days and whatnot, I'm quite well known around the Milton Keynes area. A lot of people know who I am. And that just helped me get more and more work through the door. But I didn't take myself seriously as like a removals company whatsoever. Just bumbling it around, man with a van. Didn't even really have like a proper business name at the time.
Well, what was the biggest like lead generation? Was it Facebook?
Yeah,
or was it
Facebook
just word of mouth?
and word of mouth
Word
as
of mouth
well.
on Facebook, yeah.
But I used to do my advertising on Facebook, so I'd go onto like the buying and selling sites, and then I'd advertise through there. So
what was your business name then? Is it always been
it's called A&T Services.
Was it?
That was just at the time, it seemed like a good idea.
Yeah.
Because the guy that was working with me was Tony, I was Andy.
Yeah.
So A&T Services, and that was that.
It's funny looking back, isn't it? I look back, I had an old logo before the Warren's logo.
Yeah.
And it was a van going around the globe.
I
thought I was worldwide straight away.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? That when you start a business, you go worldwide, and then but by the time you're 10 years in, you're like niche right down to local. It's weird, isn't it? That? Oh God,
but yes,
pushes your dreams, doesn't
had
it?
a different, totally different company name then.
Yeah.
So,
I'll throw you off then. Sorry, mate.
No,
Yeah, you're on your flow.
yeah. So
I was on my flow.
was you on your? How long was you on your own for doing that then?
So not very long on my own, and then I started working with this other guy Tony, and then
What was the other guy? How did you get him? Was it like a mate?
he worked in another removals company.
Oh,
that
okay,
I'd done
yeah.
work
So he's
for
got
as
had experience and
Yeah, so
stuff,
he had a
yeah,
bit
yeah.
of experience. He actually had a lot more experience than me.
Okay, yeah.
So he taught me a lot of tricks of the trade
Yeah.
in terms of even moving pianos as things sort of progressed. So, but we worked together for about a year, and it got a little bit bitter, to be honest.
I did it, yeah.
And that was the point. It was a massive turning point for me when things got a little bit bitter with me and him.
Sorry, was it a joint venture then?
I initially sort of went out on my own,
Yeah.
but then he come in quite quickly, and then it
okay.
became a joint venture.
Yeah.
So as I say, as I started out, I'm just like man in a van, no name to the
Yeah,
company. And then once me and him had joined forces, which was quite quickly afterwards, that's when we came up with the A&T Services name. And then it became a joint venture, and we were literally just splitting everything down the middle. We still shared the van, which I'd sort of paid for and whatnot, and then we were renting vans as well. Part of the motor trade, the guy that I worked for at the last job I had in the motor trade, he ran practical car and van rental was part of his business. So I was getting vans off him on the cheap, and the old Iveco had given up the game. So then we moved on to just permanently renting a long wheelbase van between me and this guy Tony, just splitting it down the middle. But yeah, it just got a bit weird towards the end. I don't really want to go into too much
Yeah. That's what you need to say. To be fair, yeah.
But yeah, it was quite a big decision for me to split ways with him, because he'd kind of taught me quite a lot. I think I knew more about the business side of things, and he knew more about the moving side of things. And I'm like a sponge, so everything that he was teaching me, I was taking, grasping it, and learning it, and using it. And I think the stuff that I was teaching him of more the business side, which I'd learned throughout the motor trade, he just wasn't interested in that sort of thing at all. I mean, he's quite happy earning the money, but not interested in sort of anything else, the overall running of the business. And then, it came to a point where I decided I'm going to part ways with him, and it was a bit upsetting, to be honest, to think, I'm going to go on my own. And I think for him, it was quite upsetting. It came out of the blue, because I said, look, I've decided I just want to sort of go on my own. And that was the point when I bought my first ever van, went out, had a bit of money saved up. My parents actually helped me out and gave me a couple of grand on top as well. And I put a deposit down, and I put the rest on finance, and bought a Volkswagen Crafter Luton box tail lift, which I still have to this day.
Yeah.
So 8 years.
Sentimental reasons or just like
It's a bit of both.
Is it? Yeah.
It's sentimental reasons, but it just doesn't give up either.
Yeah.
I mean, I've put a new engine in it. I've basically replaced every part of it.
everything, yeah.
Spent a small fortune on it. And I think initially, it was sentimental reasons, but now it just keeps going, and it's like, well, I might as well keep it until it actually dies. Now.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So is that when you become Millingtons?
That's when it became Millingtons, yeah. So that's when the business started, 2017. That's when I classed it.
That's when you classed it, is it? Nice,
So
good.
I kind of look at it as like self-employed up until the business started, and then I didn't actually. I was still a sole trader up until 2019.
Okay, yeah.
And then I became a limited company, and obviously became a director of the business. So,
It's a strange transition, that, isn't it? It's not much education on that stuff. It's that I was sole trader for about 4 years.
Yeah,
Because I didn't really know what the difference was.
the
you know what I mean?
differences were, and I think it was sort of. It felt scary to go limited for some reason.
Yeah.
Because you just didn't know.
What it is.
No.
I think sole trader is better for freelancers, but if you've got an actual business and you employ staff, it's limited company all day, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's got to be certainly.
And in VAT registers, we was obviously the WhatsApp group. We was having a chat about. One guy asked about should he go VAT register or should he do the 10%? 10% flat rate.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I was surprised how many people didn't know about it.
Yeah, it's something that actually
didn't know about it in the group. Yeah.
For some reason, I'm not sure why, but it winds me up a little bit that accountants don't educate their clients, because this is something that service-based industries should be told about.
Yeah.
Because, for instance, if you go flat rate, do you know anything about
Yeah,
flat rate?
I know everything about it.
Yeah,
So,
did you
like,
go
my
flat?
accountant
Yeah.
actually helped me, and I started out on the flat rate, and my accountant basically just broke it down to me. I was petrified to go VAT. I really was. I didn't want to do it. Obviously, just thinking it's going to be 20% more that I'm going to have to charge my clients. It's already a competitive business that I'm in, and just really scared to sort of do it.
Yeah.
But you've got no choice. You're going over that 85 grand threshold or whatever it was at the time, so I had to do it. But my accountant just broke it down for me, and he said, Andy, you've got to look at what you spend out. If you think that you can get the 20% back of that, and that's going to make the difference to go onto the flat rate or to go, full 20%, then that's up to you. And we looked at the books and stuff, and your overheads as a business are quite low in removals. You've got your fuel, you've got your materials and whatnot.
Your VAT overheads.
Your VAT overheads, sorry.
Yeah.
This is before I had a unit or anything like that to factor in. So your actual overheads are, your packing
peanuts.
materials,
Peanuts, yeah.
your fuel, and there's not a lot else. So we just decided it makes sense to
Makes
do the
perfect sense,
10% flat rate. And that's what you said the other day on the group.
Yeah, and I tell everyone as well,
Yeah.
because I speak to a lot of people with the Zoom calls for iMove, and quite a few companies are literally just about to go VAT, and I tell them, and then I've never heard of it, and then they come away like, I can't believe I didn't know about that. Thank you.
And it worked really, really well for us.
Yeah, I mean,
because in theory, you charge 20% and you're only paying 10% back.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
it would be a different story if you couldn't claim back on assets, but it's just small purchases, so packer materials, fuel.
Yeah.
If I bought a van, I can claim all that back.
Which we did as well. We bought 2 new vehicles and claimed that all back.
Yeah.
So I was actually doing really, really well out of it, because it felt like that 10% was like extra profit.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So
They should actually change it a little bit, because I think the threshold is still 150,000 for that. I'm not sure.
I thought it was 250.
It could have got. It
because
could
we
have gone up.
exceeded the threshold eventually, and,
Yeah.
and that's why we've had to go off the 10% flat rate. So
When I exceeded it, I'm certain it was at 150, because there's 85 to 150.
you might be right, actually. I can't actually remember. Don't know why I thought it was
But because
250,
of everything going up, that should go up as well, I feel.
Well, if you know what the actual number is, put it in the comments below.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone listening?
It's probably been about 5-6 years since I was on that, but I remember when I broke that 150, I was gutted.
Yeah.
Because it is such a good little system. That.
Yeah, and I was exactly the same. And again, it was like moving from being non-VAT registered to VAT registered, and then it was another jump.
It's like doing it twice, isn't it?
It's doing it twice, and it always feels scary.
But it's not so much though, is it? Like 20% is quite a lot. Do you know what I mean? 10% is kind of.
It's a bit more manageable.
No,
And don't get me wrong, you're taking that money from the client all the time, but then it's kind of when you've got to pay it back to the government. That's when it's like, oh man.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, it's much better paying 10 grand than 20 grand to the government, isn't it?
Exactly
so that's how you got to look at it.
But I'd certainly recommend to anybody who's worried about going VAT registered, do not worry about it. It really is. If you're earning that much money, your business is doing well. And I feel like clients, I had a client a few weeks ago and she'd had a quote from another removals company that was not VAT registered, and that actually put her off from that removals company.
Did it?
She said the fact that he didn't have any VAT on his invoice, she said, I wouldn't use him.
Yeah.
And I said, well, that just speaks volumes to me.
It does, yeah. Because
most clients are happy.
I think the clients who are business owners always know about that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Whereas the residential people who are not business owners kind of are like, what are you charging me that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like you do get respected more if you are VAT registered.
Certainly. I feel like you're just more of a recognised, a fully established company. You know, you should be VAT registered in my opinion.
And because this industry is a low barrier to entry, and you're coming into people's homes, people will look for that more, won't they? Because you're coming into their homes. You know what I mean?
But then you get the other end of the scale. People say, well, why are we paying it? Because I'm not actually a business. Because they're just a general domestic customer. So there's quite a lot of misperception, but there is a lot of guidance if you want to read up on it and go through all the, gov.uk stuff.
Yeah.
But again, you're too busy doing everything else to sometimes have the time to go into all that. And there's just
learn it as you go, don't you?
Learn it as you go, exactly that.
And just a disclaimer, this is not it's not tax advice.
We don't talk about tax or politics.
Yes. So first employee. When was you your first actual employee?
So my first actual employee, obviously, when I'd left split ways with this guy Tony, it was a good friend of mine, Dean, who was actually a scaffolder, and I think he just had a little bit of enough of scaffolding. You're out in the cold, all that. And we were just good friends.
The graft as well, scaffolding, all them tubes.
So he just came and started working for me, and that worked really well. I think he worked for me for a good sort of 3 years. And we literally just had that one van that we'd sort of cruise around in. And the way I sort of started my business is I wanted to originally come across bigger than what I was. You know, I wanted people to have that perception that we'd been around for a long time, and I wanted my branding to be right, so it came across as like very professional removals company, been like long standing, been around for many years, and just that perception of being bigger than what we were. But it was literally just me and my friend Dean, who was an ex-scaffolder, who we just went round and did all the jobs, rented the vans on top of the van that I'd then purchased when we had sort of bigger jobs and whatnot. And that was the way it continued for a very long time, until it was when it hit COVID that that was the real worrying time for me, because I didn't really understand what the government were going to do to help. I was still a sole trader, so eventually they said, we're going to give you these small grants. Exactly, which was great. You know, that helped sort of pay the bills and whatnot.
Did you take the bounce back loan?
I did, So I wasn't going to do it originally. So I had these grants and I was just surviving as per normal. You know, nothing had really changed because I was happy that, the bills were getting paid basically. And then one of my friends, Callum's Removals, shout out to Callum's Removals, he was actually recommended that I take the bounce back loan, and explained to me like the interest rate was so low.
Yeah.
He said he's going to do it, and he said it seems like a bit of a no-brainer to me. So I inquired about it. I looked at what the amount that I could get, looked at what I'd have to pay back, and I thought, actually, this does seem like a no-brainer.
Free money.
Free money, exactly.
Was it like interest free for 12 months or something? I can't really remember it for some reason.
I think it was interest free for 12 months. Or, no, you didn't have to make a payment, I think, for 12 months.
Okay.
I think that's what it might have been.
Yeah.
But the interest rate was like I think it's 3.5%.
That's good, isn't it?
And it was non-changeable, so that it would stick at that till you ended up paying it off. I've still got a little bit left now to pay off because it's such a low rate. There's no point in me paying it off.
Cool.
I was going to ask actually, how much do you reckon you've got left to pay on that?
Only about $5,000 now. I took 20. I think it was 22 in total that I took. What I did was I paid off the van that I had on finance. I paid that off. cleared off some credit cards that I had as well.
It just relieved that stress as well. We didn't know what was going to happen, did we?
Didn't know what was going to happen. I honestly thought I was going to lose my business.
Yeah.
Because
I thought I was going to die. I did.
I know,
The
forget about your business, Andy. You're gonna die.
The TV was telling me if I leave the house, I'm going to die. I was like, can you remember that? Can you remember that channel? Like at the bottom, it was like 3 million deaths today in the UK. Like, fucking hell, everyone's dying here.
It's like people
Look
in
at your phone, look how
Japan,
many's
like,
died now. Look how many dies now. Yeah,
people in
it's
Japan just lying there dead in the street. Like they
Yeah,
just
it's mental,
overreacted
wasn't it?
massively,
and all you
didn't
care
they?
about is your business.
Yeah.
How selfish.
Oh, what a crazy time.
Oh, it was a crazy time, wasn't it? But
Bloody hell.
that actually, in the end, helped me. Like it massively helped me because not only did I pay off like business debts and what I had there, I bought another van because I used the rest of that money, just invested it into another van.
And you had time to think, right? You had time to
think,
work on the business. Do you know what I mean? It forced you to work on it, didn't it?
Exactly that.
You know what I mean?
And
Yeah,
I
there was a good
actually-
couple of weeks, weren't there, where we was all just shitting ourselves thinking what the hell's going to happen.
What's gonna happen,
But then
yeah.
we were one of the first industries back, wasn't we?
Yeah, we were
And
one
then
of
it was
the
like
we were
booming.
one of the last ones working.
Yeah.
we moved somebody for the NHS right up on the very
Yeah.
cusp of it.
It's quite
And then
funny
we
actually,
did-
wasn't it? Because everyone that inquired around that like period, they all worked for the NHS, didn't they?
NHS,
They're
yeah.
just all blagging, right? Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I'm
think
a
that's what it
doctor.
was.
Yeah, I need to move.
I think that's what I think it was about.
Yeah, they were all lying.
We're key
And
workers,
us as business
you know.
guys, we're like, oh yeah, no worries. Yeah, if you work for the NHS, yeah,
but
it's
that's
important.
absolutely fine.
Let's get it done.
Blagged us right up, didn't they? Yeah, very true. But yeah, so we bought the other van, and then after the lockdown finished, they introduced the stamp duty holiday. Well,
Yeah.
for me, that our business just boomed.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Absolutely boomed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Couldn't keep up with the influx of inquiries. Probably getting 10 calls a day.
Yeah.
Saying no, we can't do it, and so I soon clicked onto this and then fluctuated my prices.
Yeah, of
I
course
put
it
my
did.
prices
Yeah,
up
demand. Yeah.
because it was a big demand, and then that really sort of helped us, and I think that was the point. I can't quite remember, but I think very soon after that I bought another van to go along with the fleet of two.
So
And
now
then
you've got 3 vans then, middle of COVID.
Three
Yeah.
vans then. No, I probably after the back end of the stamp duty. I think
Oh,
that's
okay,
when I
yeah.
bought the third one.
yeah.
I mean, you say that about the stamp duty holiday. I mean, I didn't even want to move house, but because I was given the stamp duty holiday, I moved house.
Yeah. It's so weird because
Massive saving, wasn't it?
I don't think anyone saves any money though.
Didn't you think?
No, because all the prices went really high.
Pushed the prices
Yeah.
up. Removals
You saved
prices
25
went up.
grand, but you're paying an extra 50 grand for the house. But the stamp duty holiday, obviously stamp duty is a lump sum payment. You can't take your mortgage out on stamp duty. You have to pay it.
Yeah.
So that's something that,
And
yeah,
then
it's a
you
saving,
can-
isn't it?
You can gain equity from your property, can't
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
So over the course of 10 years, it's going to
Yeah.
go up in value. So
But during the COVID era, being so busy, and at the time, people were out of work, weren't they? I had a train driver working for me.
Did you?
I had a ski instructor. I had barbers. I had loads of different industries because all of their work was shut.
yeah,
But can you remember their text message? I've been buzzed. Like, I've been in contact with someone. I can't work. I've got to like isolate for 10 days or something. Like, Jesus Christ, yeah, but I've got like 4 moves on tomorrow.
yeah.
And then you have to work out who he worked with that
Yeah,
day, and then
yeah.
they would be out. That's how
yeah.
it's supposed to work,
Yeah.
It
wasn't
was
it?
ridiculous, really, wasn't it?
We were
looking
doing the
back?
bloody scanning temperature as people
we were
walking
doing
in.
that with the
Right.
staff as well in the morning, scanning the temperatures.
We've done a video actually. We've done a COVID
did,
video,
yeah.
didn't we?
We did.
Yeah. Yeah, it's on Moz's YouTube channel, and check that out. The COVID video is funny.
It's a bit cringe now,
It
isn't
is,
it?
of course it is.
It is a bit cringe.
Always.
We've got
Always.
masks on, bloody sanitising sofas. Christ.
Yeah.
Just for the camera, when the camera finished, like, quick, get on the bloody van.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we were doing the same, like sanitising the back of the vans. I bought this fogging machine that I'm trying to sanitise the back of the vans with. And I'm thinking,
Good
is this
content,
really
though, isn't it?
working?
That kind of stuff. Good
Good
content.
cinematic. Good for the cinematic.
Well, I was using it as a unique selling point that, we temperature test all of our
Yeah.
stuff and we sanitise the back of the
Yeah.
vans because it was, we were trying to do, I don't know what everyone else was trying to do. We actually thought it was, was it a thing? I don't know.
Yeah,
At the time,
looking
we thought-
back, it was crazy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was crazy.
But people, at the end of the day, people did die.
They did.
That's true.
Of course they
very,
did, yeah.
very true.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of me, it really helped grow my business. From
Yeah.
going to the point where I thought, my business is going to fold here, then going to the complete other end of the scale where we actually boomed and grew the business off the back of it.
Yeah.
It actually proved to be business-wise a good time for me.
So coming out of COVID, you was busy. Did you need to employ more staff then? Did you
Yeah,
get more staff?
yeah. So took on more staff, and I think I probably had 3 guys at that point, and then me, and then always like sort of quite comfortable with that. I guess every time I'm always been renting vans. I've always rented vans throughout my whole removals business, and then when you get to that point where you're constantly paying out for rental vans, and it's a big expense to take on board each month. You think, well, I might as well just buy another van. And then obviously with another van, you need more staff to keep the vans being loaded and moved about and stuff like that. And then that's what's sort of been that natural progression. The more vans that I've bought, the more staff we've taken on. And
How many vans have you got now?
we've got 5 vans now. So
Yeah.
we've got 2 low loaders
Yeah.
and 2 Luton box with tail lifts. One of them still, like I say, my original.
Yeah.
And then I have like a Mercedes Sprinter, like a medium wheelbase Sprinter.
Okay, yeah.
Which I have only recently bought actually, and I bought that just mainly for me to do quotes. Yeah, it's a bit of a backup van. It's still got a fairly big box in the back.
I bet you never do quotes in it. I bet it's always on the move.
Well, I just use that van simply for just going out quoting because it's
do you?
smaller.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
it's easier
Fair
to
enough.
get in and out
Yeah,
of
yeah.
streets.
Is that the van you got with?
It's the van I got with me
nice,
today.
nice
Yeah,
little
so
van. It's quite big actually.
It's quite big inside. Yeah, and we do use it for backups on
Yeah.
jobs
Beautifully
and
branded,
stuff.
by the way. Beautifully
But I just
branded.
found like I was out in my car doing the quotes all the time, and I've got 4 vans. I think that's plenty. I've got plenty of vans. It's no problem at all. But then them vans are out on the road constantly, and you're like, right, what am I going to drive? I'll end up using my car. I've got quite a high performance car. So I'm spending like £200 a week in fuel just to go around doing
Yeah.
quotes. It's like, this is just ridiculous.
They are expensive, those Ferraris, aren't they? Oh, they're hard to keep on the road.
Plus, is the perception when you've turned
Yeah, you
the
can't turn it to a
Ferrari.
Ferrari.
Well, I think he's charging us a bit much.
Or it's a sign of a good businessman.
Yeah,
I mean, it's good
there's 2
business,
ways of looking at it.
Yeah.
If someone came to quote me for a removal in a Ferrari, I don't think I'd
I
take
don't think
them
I'll
on.
go with it. No, I don't think I would
I
either.
don't know, I'm not sure.
So yeah, that's the sort of five van fleet. But yeah, the 5th van is ready for me to sort of cruise about in and do quotes and whatnot.
So
And I
what's,
just
what's,
thought
your
it was
what's your company structure like? Are you the?
I'm obviously the top of the tree, and
Do you spin every plate?
yeah, I do. I spin every single plate.
Is it difficult for you to come here today?
No,
Stepping out
not
of the business.
I'm learning
Yeah.
to step back and
Yeah.
give the reins to someone else. And like my guys are on a massive, big house move today, like a £1.5 million house move today.
Nice.
And it is nervous. It is
Yeah.
nerve wracking for
Yeah.
me. You know, my right hand man, John. Shout out to John.
He's on the scaffold. Still with you?
No, he's gone back to scaffolding now,
is he?
weirdly. So John's been with me 3 years, and he literally joined me as a team leader.
Okay.
He's got removals background already, and we've known each other. Our sons play football on the second
Okay,
team,
cool, yeah,
so
yeah.
my wife and his wife know each other,
Yeah.
and then we'd got to know each other, having a beer or whatever it was, and at football and stuff like that. And he worked for another removals company, but he kept saying to me, "Oh, I think he liked the branding, and I think he looked at us and thought, oh, they're a proper professional company." So we'd spoke, and he said, "Look, can I come and start working for you?" And I said, "Yeah, but I want you to take on more of a team leader's role. Rather than just, working on the vans, I want you to manage the teams and take some of the pressure away from me." And he was really up for it, and it's worked out really, really well. And I've forgotten the point of my question.
So you're spinning every plate. So
Spinning every plate. So he's taken a lot of
down,
pressure, or not loads of pressure off me, but a lot. And then I'm learning. I don't really go out on the vans very much anymore. If someone's off on holiday or someone's not well or whatever, and I've got to sort of jump out on the vans, I do.
Yeah.
But I generally spend my time in the office or out doing the quotations now.
Yeah.
And I still, even though I'm doing that, I still don't feel like I've got enough time in the day.
Yeah.
It just sort of feels like it never ends at times.
So what about the storage? Who looks after that?
I look after that,
You
as
look
well.
after that as well, yeah.
And I've made my mistakes there with the storage, in terms of I think for me it's like the logistics of having it all set in. I haven't numbered my crates yet, which is a very stupid mistake to make. But we had a client coming out this week, and it's a big warehouse. We have to sort of stack. We go 4 long and 2 high, so we've got 8 crates at the back, and then we come right out to almost 100 crates. So we couldn't find this customer, so we're panicking, trying to dig out all these storage crates to try and find her. Eventually found her. But I just need to get. I mean, I've been doing it for 3 years. You'd think by now that I'd have that sort of sorted.
Organised.
But like I say, it's just been a bit of a learning curve.
I think when you're working on your business and you're working around, it's like that numbering of the crates, which is such a small job. That because it's an easy, that just get left. Do you know what I mean? Because you're dealing with it,
and you're just bringing in more and more storage. You're like, I'll just keep bringing it in, keep bringing it in, and it gets left by the wayside.
And when you're busy as well, when you're busy, say, and these guys are bringing them in, and then you're not taking real logs of where it's gone. And when you deliver it gets left. I've had it before. I've had it before years ago when I still give Rory grief for this now. He brought a customer into storage and he put all of the garden furniture on top of the container.
Yeah.
But none of us knew about it. And we delivered it all the way to Wales. And she was like, "Where's my garden furniture?"
Oh, no.
So when we got back, we looked on top of the container and that's where it all was. So there's those kind of little mistakes you make. I used to always also do sharing a shipping container.
Right.
For some reason, I just thought, let's try and make it cheaper for the customer. Yeah, we could do left and right.
Left and right. Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
That's the amount of problems. We've delivered the wrong flipping side to a customer before. We've had to come back and
that's a mistake waiting to happen.
It's terrible.
Yeah. And then the trying to fix that problem. Creating more work for yourself and more headache,
profit, doesn't it? Yeah,
exactly.
But you just learn, don't you?
Of course, and it's them mistakes that help you grow. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And I know now I've got to get a system in place with my storage, and it's next kind of on my list of things to do. But again, it's kind of finding the time.
I think you need someone in the office.
Yeah, I think you might be right. But again, I think I'm a little bit scared to release those reins away. I think the problem is I was always scared to buy the next van.
Yeah.
It's another big expense. And then I've done it and the business has grown. Yeah. And then you've bought the next van and the business has grown. And it's the same with putting somebody in the office, so to speak. It's like a little bit of the unknown. And I feel like because I'm spinning all of those plates, how am I going to pass that on to somebody else? Here you go, take 10 spinning plates and deal with it.
It is easy, honestly.
Is it?
It is.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say easy, but it's just making that step. At the moment, you're thinking too much about that step. Yeah. When you make the step, it will all just fall into place. Yeah.
Like it has done with every other business move that I've made.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all just sort of falling in place.
I think just for the time being, it's you'll have less money and less time. Yeah. But after that 3 months, when they're fully trained up, then you can. I mean, I always knock it back to when I've obviously been with Warren since day one, watching him grow. As soon as he employed the admin staff, you've rocketed, didn't you? After
really.
But I've also, I do believe in luck. I do. Yeah. It's not all just been hard work. My luck was Esther. My staff, I've had a lot of luck with my staff because now I speak to loads of removal companies and they're having problems. They're recruiting office staff and they're just not right or they're not pulling their weight and stuff. I know that Esther,
Did she have
gold. Do you know what I mean?
Removals background or
nothing?
Just
no.
Which
she came from Boots. She worked at Boots behind the counter, so nothing even like this.
No, not even an admin background.
I remember when you told me a story, he was like, I've employed this woman, why he makes a joke out of everything. I've employed this woman, and on the interview I forgot to ask her if she can use a PC. She couldn't use a PC. Remember that? Yeah.
No, what it was is she literally smashed the interview, and we had 10 interviews in a day.
Yeah.
And then we decided on her, and then I messaged her, and for me, I thought she's going to be over them, buzzing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I thought Warren's was flipping amazing.
Amazing.
Like a little crap company.
You could give her this great job opportunity.
So I invited her round to my house because me and Tash went to buy a laptop. So be really professional, give her a laptop. And when we passed it to her in the house, she's like, "Oh, I've never had a laptop before." And we were like, "Shit." I should drop this laptop.
Yeah, that's the
But she smashed it. Literally a couple of days in, it was all set. Honestly, she is golden. Yeah, she really is.
So it's well worth.
Absolutely.
But I move a bit as well.
Yeah.
Because obviously uses some firms a lot.
uses it a lot.
She's been a big part of iMove, definitely. It was basically built for her originally.
With no background of computers as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good thing, I suppose, is like, I know how user-friendly iMove is, and trying to get somebody new to integrate them into that system and use that system,
Yeah.
I know how very easy I found it.
Yeah.
It just works. It's just so straightforward. It's very sort of user-friendly. Is the
Yeah,
word that I'm looking
it's
for.
easy to use, isn't
So
it?
for me to get somebody else in and say, right, this is the system that we
Yeah.
use for booking your appointments,
Yeah.
for booking the removals jobs in, for corresponding with the client,
Yeah.
they're going to very easily pick that up. So
Yeah, plus it's easier for you to grow the business. Yeah, it's hard to teach what's the carnage in your head to someone, but
Yeah.
it's easy to show them a system.
Exactly
You know what I mean?
that.
It's systematic, systemizing your business, and if you systemize your business is worth more as well. Like if you come to sell it and you've got a system in place, and people can, buyers can actually see,
look at that and see,
Yeah.
you know, figures, numbers, everything like that, customer base, how many customers you're dealing with.
Do you
and
have
stuff.
a plan for that? Would you like to sell? Is there or is that just not even coming to your mind?
I think it's just always been my baby, so
Yeah.
it's not really sort of come into my mind. But I think one day I'd
Yeah.
like to, because
Someone offered $1 million today. Would you take it? A millionaire instantly.
you not know why you have to tax.
All right, after tax, you're going to get $1 million.
if you call it two, you've got to deal.
There's a number, isn't there? There is a number.
I think the thing is if you did, what would you do next? You know,
Yeah.
that would be the thing. I certainly wouldn't start another removals company.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be able to just sit around on £1 million, like,
Yeah.
you know, driving me Ferrari around or whatever.
Yeah.
I'd just get bored. I'd go stir crazy.
Yeah.
You know,
You'd have to get a second Ferrari, wouldn't you?
two on the job.
Where do you see Millingtons going? What's your next step?
I want to continually grow. I really do. I just want to continually grow. But I do, I shit myself sometimes, because like now I'm at the point where I think, what's the next step? The storage is almost full, and I know that I've got a lot of things to do to get that running more smoothly, the storage side of things. So I think I'm a little bit scared at the moment to take that sort of next step. And also I worry about like the influx of inquiries. So we've had this large project on at the moment where we've been fitting out over 300 apartments in they're like serviced apartments in our local city centre.
Is that for like a show home company or something?
So they just rent these apartments out as serviced apartments. So
Yeah.
if you're a working professional, you can come there for like 2 days a week, or you can rent it for a month at a time.
Okay.
So they're fully kitted out. It's got absolutely everything in there, you know, washing machine, fridge, freezer, table, chairs, absolutely everything's in there. Some of them are like long-term lease. Some of them businesses will lease out in the long term. We've got large companies in Milton Keynes like Santander, Network Rail. So these are huge corporates.
Yeah.
And obviously not everybody can live in Milton Keynes. So a lot of people commute to these larger companies. And I think it's designed for those sort of people that are just going to commute in, do their work for a week, stay in this sort of service department and then go.
How have you quoted for that, by the way? Do you quote by the day or something?
I quoted actually, because it took me a long time to kind of work it out. I kind of thought initially, should I quote per day? And the way I actually ended up calculating the quote was per apartment. So I thought,
okay.
what is a fair price per apartment that
Yeah.
I'd be happy with?
Yeah.
And it worked out really well.
And you've
My
done
actual
300 apartments.
339 apartments fully
Bloody hell.
kitted out.
And you told me earlier it was an apartment. Eh? 330 grand in the back burner. Eh?
That'll do.
No, that's great.
It's been great.
So how
It's
long
been-
has this taken?
Well, it started in April and it was meant to take 6 to 8 weeks.
Really?
And we're just about to finish now. So we're coming to the end of it.
That's
now.
not because of you, though, I guess.
That's
They
not
haven't
because
been
of us,
finished or
because,
whatever.
delays on
Yeah.
site. So it's been like, initially it was a building site. The actual contractors have just left.
Yeah.
And they're still, tidying up and doing the last snagging and stuff now. So there's just been a lot of delays on site, really. And we've had to pull off site when there've been delays, because obviously we can't keep sending. Some days we've got 6, 7 lads there, so you can't keep sending them amount of bodies in there every day if there's nothing for them to do.
Have
So
you-
it's been a bit of a learning curve.
When you booked in for these,
Yeah.
and you've obviously set your stall now, you've got your price for it.
Yeah.
Have you lost other work which would have been better money?
No.
No.
I don't think it would have been better money. I've taken on a lot of stress with this because it has been the constant stopping, starting, deliveries. It's just been totally new to us.
Yeah.
We can all move and build furniture, but it's been the overall like logistics of it.
Yeah.
You know, dealing with building contractors. They don't like us particularly on site. You know, we're the last ones in.
Yeah.
You know, we're not their normal electrician or chippy or whatever. So yeah, they don't really particularly like us on site. And yeah, I might have lost some of the work, but as the project's gone on, I've learned to manage that as well as carry on doing. Initially, I just said, right, I'll stop removals.
Yeah.
I'll take 6 weeks to deal with this. And then I soon thought, this is not going to work. I need to carry on doing my day to day, my bread and butter. Because the phone's constantly ringing. I can't just say to every client, I struggle to say no to customers anyway.
Course,
Can you fit me in? I can't, but I'm going to.
I'll
I'll make
there.
it work, or somehow I'm going to just make it happen. So yeah, initially I was just going to not do any removals until this project was finished. But then I learned how to juggle the both. And yeah, I might have lost out on a couple of jobs here and there. But the contract overall has been really profitable.
Are you looking forward to it finishing?
Yeah, desperately. Like my wife knows the amount of like pressure and the struggle that it's been for me. And I think she's just can't wait for it to finish because she knows how much it's just a big, massive pressure on your plate. You know.
Well, so how do you win a? Sorry, how do you win a contract like that? Just for people.
Did you tender for it?
Yeah, we tendered for it. So the company approached me. This is like a London-based company, and they generally do like hotel fit-outs.
Yeah.
So they're going into like, I don't know, massive hotels in London or wherever it may be. And they do like more bespoke stuff. So they'll, you know, fit the wardrobes and stuff like that. And obviously they'll supply it with mattresses, beds, everything like that. So this is a bit of a different thing for those guys because it's literally just get the furniture, get it built, and then we distribute the furniture, we get it all built, we take away all the waste, and then that's it. So it's not something that they sort of do every day. Anyway, they've approached me and said, would you like to tender for this contract? So we said, yeah, no problems at all. We'll put in our, you know, our tender. And then didn't hear anything back. So I just thought, and I honestly thought I've gone in too strong on this because I thought I'm going to, you know, this is no easy job.
Yeah.
340 apartments. It's across 10 floors in places as well.
Yeah.
So you've got a lift there, obviously, but it's a lot of moving about. So I went in at a high price initially, and I just didn't hear anything back. So I thought, I've not won this. And then eventually the guy just run me out of the blue and said, so yeah, we've had a couple of quotations, but we liked talking with you and dealing with you, Andy. So we've decided we want to give you the contract. So I'm like, get in there, you know, happy days, yeah. And until now, I'm like,
happy days.
I mean, would I do it again? I probably would.
You've learned a lot of this, haven't you?
I've taken it on.
You've made all the mistakes and you've got that experience. Next time, you'll organise it so it's easier.
Yeah, and it has. It's got easier and easier as it's gone on, you know.
Plus, if the same people got in touch, you can be like, you've got a bit of power now. So you could say, actually, you know, we learned here that the waste that we were getting rid of, the prices have shot up.
Yeah.
So, you know, all that kind of stuff. So you can actually go in, they know you, they know you're going to do a good job.
Exactly,
you can make more money on the next.
More money, exactly that.
Yeah.
So do you kind of advertise that? Have you took videos? Have you took photos of it?
I've taken a few
on your
videos
website?
and photos and stuff, but I haven't really. Like, I'm not always the great at like marketing my business. I've always been strong with like the branding side of things. Like, I want a strong brand, and I feel like my website is, you know, okay. I feel like my vans look great, and I always want my team in uniform. But in terms of like the marketing, like again, what you guys do is like really, really good. You know, you're really key on like your marketing and your social media and stuff like that. I'm not that great at that sort of thing.
It's difficult when you're not on the jobs as well, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. So the guys have taken lots of photos, and I thought at the end what I'll do is do a social media post about it.
Yeah.
But at the minute, I've kind of just kept a little bit quiet about it, really.
The problem is when the guys take photos, they're normally shit, aren't they? They show you off.
Actually got a guy.
I think just to keep a presence on social media these days. I mean, just to post every now and again. Just so the customers, they will look at your social media. They will look at your website. Some will look at your social media.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At least you've got a presence on there.
And we got one of the lads who works out on the vans. He takes lots of pictures for me. Some of them are really, really good. Some of them are not so good. But generally, you're taking pictures of the vans. The lads working in the house or in the back of the vans. It can get a bit dull at times, you know, unless you can do something a bit different, a bit more versatile, like in terms of, like again, what you guys are doing, you're doing videos and stuff like that. I think that really helps. Other than that, it's just, it's another picture of a Millingtons van.
Yeah.
Like, great, you know.
It is different, you know. We put in 4 days a month roughly, don't we, Rob? It's like a content machine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we do one podcast and we do two Warrens a month, don't we? And then obviously editing
other
and
bits
that
as well.
And that's your Warren's TV side of it as
Yeah.
well. That includes that. That's not actually that much. I thought it'd be a lot more that you have to put into it. That includes the editing as well.
Yeah.
No, the editing's on top, isn't it?
Oh,
So
editing's
yeah,
on top
about
of
six, maybe 6, 7. I mean 20 days.
Yeah. Oh god! But no, when you're doing 4 days a month or 3 or 4 days a month, it's one a week, isn't it? And before you know it, the next one's up, and
you
you
just
know,
roll with it.
they do come quite quick.
Again, I think if I had that little bit more time on my hands, because I am just doing so much within the business, I always find that difficult to just keep up on top of social media and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think an office worker for you would be definitely the
I think
next
that's
step.
definitely the next.
And then would you like to
move
grow
for me.
the team?
Well, I've got quite a large team from taking on this project. So at the minute, we've got 8 guys that are working for us full time. And as that's sort of coming to an end, I'm a little bit worried that some of them are going to have to go by the wayside. And like, I've picked up some really good guys. I'm really lucky with my staff. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of them have come from have got a removals background already, so they know the job inside out. And they've just sort of fitted straight in. You know, they're all good guys. They're all hardworking. I get great feedback from the customers all the time about you know, how good the guys are, and we get lovely reviews and stuff as well. So that's really good. But
What's your tactics to get reviews?
We actually use iMove to get our reviews now. So I was signed up with Trustpilot only 3 months ago or so. And I actually approached Warren and said, "But how do you do it?" And he uses Trust Index, and so do we now.
Yeah.
So we just literally send every client through iMove now. We just literally send them
Just an email
"Please
template,
leave us
yeah,
a
yeah.
review," with the links on there from our Google page, our Trustpilot page, and our Facebook page.
Yeah.
And we're finding that that's sort of working really well.
Because there's no friction, and you don't forget about it because it's always there in the workflow.
So
It's working better than the Trustpilot
yeah.
did for me, to be perfectly honest. So
perfect.
that's really, really good.
to know.
Yeah. But I think moving forward into like the new year, certainly, to try and keep my workforce on and try and keep the move rates coming through, because I've taken on this project and carried on doing the removals as well. I know that I'm capable of doing a lot more.
Yeah.
But it's getting that work in. So
Yeah.
I've got some leads with, I think it's Compare My Move.
Okay, you've signed up for them.
Signed up for them actually in January last year. So they were doing a deal or whatever. I bought 100 leads from them. And I've still got over 80 of these leads now, where I'm just generally busy. So I'm thinking in the new year, do I like turn those back on and start getting more and more moves on?
You can feed that through to iMove. You knew that anyway, didn't you?
Yeah, but I haven't quite worked. Oh, I think you sent me the details to do it.
Yeah,
It's
I
just
can do it for
something
you
that
though
I
if you need to.
do.
Yeah.
I need to do that. But I think with lead gen, like you seem to be, it's even more competitive as well.
Yeah.
Like, people seem to go in really, really low prices, and that's one thing across the removals industry that I don't understand. Like, it's always a race to the bottom.
Yeah.
And is that
It's because it's so low barrier to entry, and it's because you just need a van and a man, don't you? So that's why.
For next to nothing,
Yeah,
can't you?
and you get people like starting out who just want to get the work, and then they don't realise that they can't survive on that. So then they go, and then it's like a
I
constant.
think generally
cycle.
what happens, similar to what you did and me, I left a full-time job where I was earning about 80, 90 quid a day.
Yep.
So when I started by myself, that's all I really wanted.
Exactly.
As long as I make 90 quid a day, I'm happy.
I'm happy, yeah.
So that's why everything's so cheap to start.
And
you know
then
what I mean?
But then you start earning more than that, and you're going up to like £150 a day. And you think this is great,
Yeah.
but your pricing is still cheap, isn't it?
It's still
You're
cheap,
still
yeah,
getting
yeah.
it really, really cheap.
Yeah. The problem is with this industry is it's not consistent, is it? You can have a quiet week, you can have a booming week where you feel like bloody Bill Gates.
Yeah.
And then the following week, you
Can
bloody
be really quiet.
absolutely
And
terrible.
then you kind of get scared and go, "Oh, am I pricing too high?
Yeah.
I better drop my prices down a little
Yeah.
bit." My prices can sort of fluctuate, depending on how busy.
Do you use the pricing matrix to differentiate?
Yeah, I do use that. I tend to use that more on like long distance jobs.
Okay, yeah.
But I find that I'm not winning that many jobs off it because we run Luton vans. So say, for instance, if we're going to, I don't know, Wales or Scotland or somewhere distance away, like I always like to be ethical and don't overload the vans, because I feel like it's just not the right way to do things, is to overload a van and send it to Wales. It's just, one, it's stupidity, and two, I just don't think it's ethical as a removals company. So I always put more vans on than what I think is necessary, just to make sure that they're not overloaded. So then when I'm working on the pricing matrix and I put 4 Luton vans in and they're doing, let's say, a combined of 800 miles across the 4, and then it, what calculates the price.
Yeah.
My price is coming in quite high.
Yeah.
Whereas if I had perhaps an Arctic vehicle, although the overall running costs of that are more, I feel like you'd probably be able to come in with a more competitive quote for those distant moves.
Yeah.
And that's something that I'd like to get into as well, is having like an 18 tonner or 22 tonner or whatever. But I've always thought as well, if I can't drive it, if someone's off sick or something like that, how am I going to do it? And I don't have the time to be out in the vans and driving it around and stuff like that. So it's another big step.
Plus, you want to, in reality, you want to build a business that doesn't need you really eventually.
Exactly.
So if you tie yourself to a lorry, you're always within it, aren't you? That's what I feel anyway.
That's just the time point. You got no chance of getting off the vans if you're the only one that needs to be on the van.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. And how have you found it moving, like going into the HGV side?
Yeah, good. Yeah, we had. I said it a million times. We had a bad start to it, but now I love it. Yeah, I've just put someone else through their HGV, passed in record time.
Brilliant.
£1,600, which I thought was amazing.
That's really
Took
good.
6 weeks, and now he's another lorry driver.
And he's out on the road.
He's out and about. Yeah, yesterday was his first shift driving it.
Wow.
And he's got a pay rise, obviously, from the back of that. He's got a good certificate to his name now. Yeah.
Do you sign him in for a certain contract length?
He's been with me for 9 years now.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so there's
no worries.
Yeah, it's a bit.
He's not going anywhere. Hopefully.
No, hopefully not. But if he does, he's served me well. You know what I mean?
And that's the way to look at it, because you actually had someone leave after their HGV.
Yeah.
Oh, did you really?
I did, yeah.
Not long after you trained them, they left.
Yeah, but at the time, although I was proper racked off by it all, at the time it was like when all the Brexit and stuff happened, everyone went back home, all the Polish drivers and whatever.
Yeah.
So, bloody, what was it, 20 quid an hour?
Yeah.
On Indeed and stuff like that, yeah.
That,
and these guys, they're financially incentivised. I'm paying them, £15 an hour.
Yeah.
They're seeing 20.
Yeah.
They're going to go.
Yeah, of course.
It's a good way to look at it, and it's just being realistic.
Yeah.
And that's what I
But
was
luckily he went and he come back because he hated it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You took him back as well?
I took him back, yeah.
I think it always worries me, because you can go and work for like Waitrose or whoever and probably earn more money that you can get in the removals industry as a HGV driver, and less actual labour, moving boxes and all big heavy furniture onto the back of a wagon.
It's hard work, isn't it?
It's hard work, yeah.
So removals and storage show, you was there. How did you find that?
Yeah, really enjoyed it. Yeah, it was good to see sort of everybody in the industry. I try and go every year if I can.
Was this your first time, or was it?
No, this is I think my third time now that I've been. Yeah,
that was the first time I met you, wasn't it? At the last one.
Yeah, it was. The first time we sort of met face to face. I think we'd maybe spoke on the phone or whatever.
Yeah.
The first time we met you face to face, and you wasn't actually showcasing.
No, we weren't ready then. Can you remember?
Yeah,
we weren't quite ready to showcase it.
We had a conversation before, like you said you'd go and suss it out, and then I mean, this year was great for us as a business. Like, we was flat out.
I saw how busy you were. I didn't even get a look in, and I kind of sort of know you guys, and I thought, I'll pop and say hello, and I was like, right, I'll pop back.
Yeah.
Right, I'll pop back again. Yeah. 3 times later, and then I spoke to you for about 5 minutes. I was like, oh, let these lads get on.
Yeah.
Like, you must have not sat down the whole time.
2 days, didn't sit down, didn't eat, didn't drink. It was flat out, wasn't it?
Was brought a couple of chairs, like, into, like, and I says, what are you doing? He brought these chairs actually. Then I was like, what are you doing with them? He goes, we only sit down. I says, you went sitting down, mate. I don't think
you didn't expect it, did you?
I don't think it'd be as bad as that, because we just literally never sat down or never stopped talking for the whole.
I saw it.
We come away with 37 new inquiries.
Wow.
This is insane, isn't it? It's insane. And I'm just going through the Zoom calls now and just signing, onboarding everyone. And
these people are certainly going to come on board.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, we've had probably, when was it, 2 weeks ago? Less than that, a week ago, wasn't it?
6, 7 days.
Yeah. We've subbed about 5 of them so far. So we're
really good.
Really impressed with it. We wish there was more shows throughout the year. don't
We're
we?
looking at New York and stuff like that. So, the one
Straight away.
screenshot New York, like
Like the movers trade show.
Iran,
in New York.
Iran.
That's like you've really got to think of that though, because at the moment you just base in the UK, but you can take this worldwide.
I mean, we've had a lot of inquiries from We've had so many inquiries from Australia, but we're just not ready for. I'd say we're not ready for Australia yet, are we? Because we're still developing. We still want to make it like an absolute like machine, and we want to be different. We want to keep growing, and we need to do our development when out of business hours. So it's because we've got over 100 now. We don't want to disrupt users. So we've kind of made that decision, and we're going to stick to Europe. For the time.
Obviously, in Australia, when we're asleep, they're awake.
Yeah, so
you know what I mean. So that's when
and customer service. We provide good customer service at the minute. We'd be able to provide that to the
if they've got
the
a problem,
Aussies.
you need someone. You need like 24-hour call centre.
So we're going to grow it, and then we're just enjoying it. We keep growing. Keep growing it.
You can tell how much you guys are enjoying it.
Yeah, we do. Obviously, we got the podcast and stuff, and
fun, isn't it?
Yeah. And you're passionate at the show. You know, you're just bouncing off everybody.
At the show, it showed, didn't it? To be fair, it was great. It was good. Yeah,
right, I've got a business question.
Yes.
From the next guest who's on after you.
Okay.
Josh Pask.
Yeah.
So he sent it to me. You ready for it?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. Which one thing do you know you should be doing that you haven't yet done that you know will 100% improve your business? Which I think is a great question. Really good one. Do you want me to read that again?
Yeah, read it again.
Yeah. Which one thing do you know you should be doing that you haven't yet done that you know will 100% improve your business?
I think it's very, very easy for me, and that is taking on an administrator.
Yeah, I was going to say that. 100%. Yeah, I was going to say that for you.
Especially after like talking to you guys today in more detail about it, and I think that's just the way forward.
Yeah,
it's going to take a lot of pressure off me. And, you know, I've got a small family, a young family as well, you know, and having that time with your family is important. And I just, you know, I feel like I can be constantly working.
Let's give them a shout out. Let's give your wife a shout out. Is it one kid or two? Have you got?
So we've got 4 boys between us, me and my wife.
4 boys, nice.
Yeah, and then we've got 1 baby daughter.
Okay.
Baby
She'll
Sienna.
be protected then, yeah.
So exactly. She's got 4 big brothers to fend off any
5
idiots.
children then.
5 children between us. Shout out to Jade. Hi Jade.
Hi Jade.
I think the admin staff will buy your time back, won't it, as well?
Which is, I think that's going to be really important for me.
Yeah.
Like I've really took a sideways step out of Warren's recently, and I've just found that I'm such a better family man. You know, I feel happier as well.
Yeah.
And I'm just concentrating on iMove.
Yeah. But you've got that time to spend with your family more now. So.
Yeah, and obviously that goes back to if I didn't have an Esther, I wouldn't be able to do it. If I didn't have Luke, George, Rory, you know, I wouldn't be able to do it. So all these people are sat in the right chairs, which has made me...
And these are all people that are not out on the vans. They're not...
No, they're all admin, they are.
I think what I've always worried about is because with removals, you need a lot of bodies to actually move all of the belongings around. So that's always a big, massive wage overhead. Just like I say, you know, I've had 8 lads working for me now since April.
Yeah.
You know, the wage bill every week is big, it's huge.
Yeah.
So I think just taking on another staff member who's not going to be out on the vans is just alien to me. Because I've always thought I can do it all myself.
Yeah.
But my business is at the point now where I don't think it can grow anymore without somebody else taking something else away. And I can't concentrate on how I'm going to grow it or what I'm going to do to make it grow without having that little bit of extra time. So
I've said it before, but staff members on the vans are earning money today.
Yeah.
An admin staff member brings money in for tomorrow.
Right.
And for next week and the week after.
That's a really good way to look at it.
That's the way to look at it. They're bringing the money in whilst these are earning today.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean?
And I think the next step after that would be actually salesmen. That's how businesses go, don't they? That's
well, what you want is someone answering the phone, booking in your quotes because you want to go and do the quotes. People are buying into you, so let that person fill your diary. You go and smash it out. the more you smash it out, the more staff you're going to need to do the moves.
Yep.
That's how it'll all work. It's like
that
you're
sounds-
feeding each other.
Sounds really well.
And eventually, if a team member comes off the van and you can shadow you for quotes,
Yeah.
so you should keep shadowing you, and then you can get off the quotes.
So
and,
I've got John, he does
Yeah.
a few quotes for me
Yeah.
here and there, and he's watched me a few times, and I've said to him, like, it's about selling yourself and just getting the customer to sort of like you, and that's
Yeah.
quite important.
Yeah.
But he's made a couple of mistakes on, like, we haven't had the right amount of vehicles and staff on a couple of the jobs where he's just not. But I've given him no real training about it. I think it's just about having him sort of shadow me a little bit more.
But also, I would. This is something else. I've felt corporate of this. Trust me. Is don't promote a C player thinking that they're an A player.
Yeah.
Because just because they've got experience doesn't mean that they're good
they're good
here.
at it. Yeah.
So I've made that mistake. Just because someone's been with me for 6 years, let's make them a team leader or let's make them a quota.
And it doesn't
In
mean
fact,
that
they're
gonna
just good at
excel.
removals.
Yeah.
That's what they're good at.
Yeah, exactly
Do you know what I
that.
mean?
Yeah.
So be
Yeah,
more
very,
of a talent,
very true.
and you have to rattle the cage as well, because there will be someone that comes into the business that's better than this person who's been there for 6 years.
Yeah.
But he's more suited, and that's going to piss him off.
Yeah, exactly.
But you have to rattle
You've
that
got-
cage in
yeah.
business. You've got
Yeah,
to do
exactly.
it.
You've got to be a bit ruthless.
You
haven't
have to, yeah.
Yeah.
And in time, they will understand, because this person will prove themselves, and then all of a sudden, actually, I can understand it now. But at the time, I've had it. I've had it.
don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they take it personally. Yeah.
'Cause,
but it's
you do-
not about that, is it? In business, it's nothing's personal. It's just we're looking to do the best we can for our business. So
I say, if you played for a Sunday league team and you turned up week in, week out, and then Messi turned up,
yeah,
is he going to play ahead of you?
yeah.
I think he will. You know what I mean?
Well,
But he's only just turned up, and I've been here for like 10 years. You know what I
You
mean?
know what? Not
But
saying
it doesn't matter. He's got
not saying I'm messing with you. But like obviously I worked offshore for a long period of time, so 2 weeks off, 3 weeks off, 2 weeks on.
Yeah.
So when I used to come home, I used to go straight into the squad. You know what I mean? And then
The other guys would get
but
you
like
up.
when you play good, then everyone, no one says nothing.
You've got to
Do you
prove
know what I
yourself,
mean?
haven't you?
realise.
That's it, yeah.
But if you have a bad game,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
like, hold on, how is he just jumping straight into the
But
team?
like the thing is as well, like them players, especially in the Sunday League level, they'll just leave. They'll just be hungover and they won't turn up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you just got to always play your best team.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very true.
Always put the best team
Very
up.
true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Let's wrap it up.
Yeah,
Andy,
perfect.
you've been
Lovely.
amazing.
Lovely to meet you guys.
Honestly, you
Thank
really
you
have
so
been
much.
amazing.
Thanks
No,
for having
thank
me on
you.
the podcast today.
Yeah, no
It
worries.
was a
Thank you for
pleasure.
being a big supporter of iMove.
No, certainly am.
Yeah,
We'll
I know.
continue to be.
A big decision for you to change, what you were currently using,
Certainly
and
was,
come over
but
to us.
definitely made the right move. And
Yeah, it
I'll
didn't
keep
take you
going.
long, did it? So it's probably interesting for people watching this. How long do you think it took you? Because obviously we've all got a system.
What, in
It's
terms
changed.
of like to integrate myself into iMove? To get
Yeah,
used
just to get
using
used to it. A week or two?
A week, yeah.
Yeah,
A week or
it don't
two.
take long, does it?
It doesn't
No.
take long at all, and it really is. Yeah, it's very user friendly.
Yeah.
So easy to use, and yeah, everything's there. Everything that I ever think, I need to do that. You can easily find it with an iMove, especially all of the like the pre-made templates for emails and stuff like that. Like I said earlier about like leaving a review, you literally just click down. Please leave us a review. All the emails there. It's got the customer's details on there.
Yeah.
1, 2 clicks of the button. Yeah. So it really is that easy.
I'll leave the tenner.
Thank you, honestly.
No, cheers for
You
that,
made
mate.
the trip
Thank you.
yesterday.
Yeah,
It's
lovely.
been a pleasure.
Cheers. Thanks a lot, guys. Cheers. All the best. Thanks a lot, guys.